What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Wrestling Corner episode. Oh, yeah, I'll be like this. 20, 20, episode 20 of season 5. Hope the 93 in the place to be. Hope everybody had a good weekend on their part. This weekend for us wrestling fans was a pay-per-view weekend. That being WWE Fastlane 2016. Which I will be giving my review of. My official review, not like with the Royal Rumble due to delays of the corner. Basically, I didn't really give a real review with Royal Rumble, but I will be doing that with Fastlane. Also, I'll be talking about what happened on the aftermath, what happened on Raw, with the memorable moment. I think will go down as one of the top memorable moments of 2016. Not saying that 2016 so far has been filled with memorable moments, but no, wait a minute, it hasn't been filled, but it's had a couple so far. AJ Styles debut, on AJ Styles' debut, and now with Shane returning after I think close to 7 years. I think like 6 years and a half. Because last time seeing Shane on WWE program was 2009. So I'll be talking about that, and also the match that was made for him like right after he returned. And the two other announced matches for Mania as well, that being Ambrose Lesnar and Reigns and Triple H. So all that and whatever you guys want to add to the corner will be given to you tonight. And we have John here. Hey, John. How's it going, man? Okay, so I guess we'll kick right into the review for Fastlane 2016. Fastlane 2016 emanated from Cleveland, Ohio, in the Quicken Loans Arena. And you can kind of say the home that, I guess you can kind of say the home that LeBron built, because for LeBron James, before he took his talents to South Beach, he was the face of Cleveland. And at the time, before that, it used to be called the Gund Arena, but then it became the Quicken Loans Arena. And basically all the history that's been placed in the Quicken Loans Arena has LeBron James' name, written all over it. So I guess you can call the Quicken Loans Arena the name that LeBron built. But anyways, that's where it emanated from, Cleveland, Ohio. And my initial thoughts, I think I mentioned on the Go Home corner before Fastlane. My initial thoughts on Fastlane was that the results were going to probably be predictable, but hopefully that did not mean that the quality of the matches would be poor. And hopefully it would not be a throwaway pay-per-view. Now, in a way, in my opinion, I think you can skip Fastlane 2016. Even though now I'm kind of giving my overall thoughts. I'm talking about my initial thoughts. But when I mean you can skip it, I mean you can watch. You don't have to watch the whole event, and you'll feel left out. You can basically just watch 2 to 3 matches if that's your choice. But so let's kick on. Let's get into the whole shindig. The opening match, surprisingly, to me, the opening match was the women's tag team match, Becky and Sasha versus Team Bad, Tamina and Naomi. The reason why I say surprising, because it's very rare for a women's match to kick off a WWE pay-per-view. It's very rare. I cannot recall the last time that has happened. I know for TakeOver, you had, or TakeOver London, England, you know, Asuka and Emma kicked off the show. And even that, to me, was rare because in WWE, women's matches is rarely the opening match. But Fastlane proved to be the contrary. So we kicked off the show with the tag team match, Sasha Banks and Becky versus Team Bad. And almost initially it looked like, yeah, you know, Becky and Sasha were going to be at odds with each other, playing off the dysfunctional team, playing off that concept. But then they kind of quickly got into a groove, got into a gel together. And then Naomi and Tamina would finally gain control. And I gotta say this. Naomi's newest move, that kicking combination of hers, it's supposed to be played off as serious, but I got to admit, because she's just going up and down, up and down, up and down, and the fact that so far she's only done it, I've seen it, she's only done it on Becky, and anytime she does it on Becky, Becky's actually blocking the hits. I find it laughable because, like my brother Chris said, that when he saw it, he first thought of, you know, the Russian. Everybody knows the famous like Russian dance, but I'm forgetting what's the actual name of it. You know that, you know, hey, that's what it looks like when Naomi's doing that kick combination. But this time it got countered into a suplex by Becky. And mostly through the match, Becky was playing face in peril, you know, building up the hot tag. And I think they did a good job building the hot tag, especially teasing at one point where it looked like Becky was going to make the tag, and it was great timing. Because most time it was great time when Naomi, I think it was Naomi or Tamina, yeah, I think it was Naomi pulled pulled Sasha off, excuse me, pulled Sasha off the apron, and Becky just missed her. It was good time because most of the time when that spot comes, you can basically tell that other person's gonna get pulled off. But it happened. The timing was so in sync that you actually kind of could believe that Becky was probably gonna get the tag, and just as she reached, Sasha got pulled. But then finally Sasha would get tagged in, and you know she would be on a house of, you know, like a house of fire. And there was a cool, and then there was there was a part where she she tried to go for, what was she trying to go? Oh, I think she tried to go for her knee, you know, the knees in the corner, but then no, Naomi tried to go for that bulldog in the turnbuckle, but then Sasha threw it into the turnbuckle, and then I guess did the bank statement from the turnbuckle, and then locked on the submission. And Tamina pulls her out, and that was kind of funny because I'm thinking, yeah, what's they just staring at each other, and then Tamina just runs away. And I'm thinking, the fact that just seeing the visual of Tamina run away from Sasha just looked kind of funny, but it was all a ruse because it just led into Sasha going into ring and then getting the rear ender. No, it's the rear view. Rear ender, rear view, same difference. And that would be like a false finish. Then there was this part where Sasha would make a counter, and like immediately once Naomi and Tamina turned around, they got double missile drop kick by Becky. So yeah, I wish I kind of put notes in like I usually do. Okay, now I'm kind of just going off the top of my head. And then it would come down to Tamina and Becky. I mean, and Sasha. I believe so. And yeah, and it'd be Irish whip. Tamina would try to sidewalk slam, but Sasha basically countered it, basically did a tilt-a-whirl counter into the bank statement. And just as Naomi was about to grab or do something to Sasha, she got pulled down by the arm and got to disarm her. And it was a stereo tap out, but of course Tamina is really counting, and the win will go to Becky and Sasha. As I predicted, I think as many predicted, but what also I predicted did not happen. And I thought that, and that was Sasha and Becky, or basically Sasha turning, basically our job here is done, back to going for the goal and deck Becky, but that would not be the case. So, but I think that the match was fine. Once again, it's kind of rare for a women's match in WWE to open up the card, but for what it was fine. I think that they didn't really do anything wrong. So, the at that point, the worst that could happen was just a bunch of botches, but that really wasn't the case. It was just fine. Before I go to the next one, okay, Johnson. I don't know who I want to win, Taker or Shane. Yep, John, I will get into that after reviewing Fastlane. John, also, John, do you think Shane could cost Triple H the title? I don't know. It depends on what shape Shane is in. If after his match with Taker, don't forget he's scheduled to be in a Hell in a Cell match. That's really not a match you just compete and then you just involve yourself in the next match. I mean, Mick Foley did it, and at Catering 98, because after he got thrown off the cell, he interfered in the Kane and Austin First Blood match, but he still was all hurt and everything. But back to Fastlane. The next match on the card will be Kevin Owens versus Dolph Ziggler for the Intercontinental Championship. I didn't really get to see the first 5 minutes of the match because I'm looking here on the wiki page. It says this match was 15 minutes and 10 seconds. I think I missed like the first 5 minutes because my uncle came to drop something off and I was JC at the door talking with him. And then once I came back up, the match I think was already kind of in the back and forth stage of the match. But for what I saw, it really wasn't different from all the other Owens and Ziggler matches that I've seen. I mean, and that's not to say that the matches are bad, but what I'm trying to say is that when I was talking to my friend Nate about this, that I told him I just kind of wish that WWE had not done Ziggler and Owens so much before this match, because it was almost to a point where every Raw was Ziggler versus Owens. And at the time, it didn't look like it was really telling a story as if, like Owens had Ziggler number. It just seemed like, okay, it was just aimless matches, even though they were, good in-ring work. And then finally, it looked like they tried to. Then they started making like, okay, there's a story to it. Like, okay, Ziggler has Owens. Finally, starting to have Owens' number. But I think the interesting spot was when Owens tried to go for the power bomb on the apron, but Ziggler countered into a Hurricane Rana into the steel steps. I found that to be very interesting. And then after a false finish with the Famouser and a couple of super kicks, Ziggler tried to go for the super kick again, but when Owens ducked it, the referee almost got in the way, which basically was a distraction to Ziggler, and Owens would kick him in the knee or the abdomen, and for the first time, basically did a short arm pop up palm, which I actually like, because it's like, you know, if you're trying to get the job done quick, you know, why, yeah, throw them all the way across the ring into the ropes, where then you just yank them and then do the pop up palm if you're trying to make short work, if you're in desperation mode. So I actually praised that finish, and Owens will retain the belt, which also I predicted. And I was looking at on the reception section of the wiki page, and trying to see who it was. Okay, here we go. Uh, whose review is this? It says James Call James Call of PW Torch. He said about the Owens and Ziggler match, and also the Brie Bella and Charlotte match, which I will talk about later. He said, I guess he's basically saying that what those two matches suffered from was the audience not really buying into the babyface challenger having a shot to win. And yeah, with the build of Ziggler and Owens, which, you know, was kind of I'm trying to think of the right word, which was kind of abrupt, just Owens winning the belt, the Raw before Fastlane, you know, that was very abrupt. So him going against Ziggler was kind of abrupt, even though they had matches in the past. So that could have played into, yeah, the crowd, you know, somebody probably, I really don't think Ziggler is going to win the belt. Owens is going to retain the belt. Owens is not going to retain the belt. He's going to retain, which he did. But basically the match was no different, and I mean that basically it was no different from basically the other Owens and Ziggler matches. So if you like those matches, you know, you're probably gonna like this one. My only thing is that I just kind of wish WWE had not done them so much in such a short span of time, because after a while, one could easily just be, well, this is the same match I saw on Raw. You know, you know, it's the same thing. I really don't need to watch, because I've seen them, you know, almost like I've seen this match over and over for 5 times now, 5 weeks straight, you know, 5 weeks straight or so. Okay, next match would be the 6-man tag team match. The team of Big Show, Kane, and Ryback, I guess the Titans, as Bray Wyatt was referring them as, going against the Wyatt family members of Luke Harper, Eric Rowan, and Braun Strowman. Now, this match, from what I remember, it wasn't really anything to write home about. I mean, I guess the most interesting thing was, you know, Ryback going on this high knee barrage in the corner, and I joked by saying, I don't think CM Punk still follows the, you know, the product, but no, but good thing he's not, because if he saw that, he would have been highly upset. Because Ryback was doing all the high knees like CM Punk, and it's like, okay, but it's all but Paige does, yeah, but the deal is that, you know, if you listen to CM Punk's, you know, when he finally explained himself, yeah, he really doesn't like Ryback too much, because Ryback has injured him, I think, twice or so. So, had injured him twice. So, you know, that's where it was like, that's where the joke came from. It's like, good thing CM Punk's not seeing this. And also, I think when Big Show speared Braun, he speared him pretty good. And Kane booted Bray. Bray wasn't even didn't even do anything. But I think when he was about to, that's when Kane just booted him. And when it came down to Luke Harper and Ryback, Luke Harper, I guess, was going to go for the power bomb, but then with the distraction of Kane booting, Bray getting booted by Kane caused a distraction for Ryback to hit the shell shock, which was a pretty bad shell shock. It was basically a botching. And Luke basically fell all on his left arm, and you just heard him, and I immediately was like, I don't think that's selling. I think, yeah, he really got hurt. And I'm not so sure, but I think, I remember Nate telling me that Luke was hurt, and I was like, that's no surprise to me, because that shell shock was a bad landing. So I want to say, in all honesty, I'm trying to cut down now. When my professor say, it's always like, were you lying all this time before? But basically, Ryback lately, the shell shock has not really, to me, hasn't really looked effective as much when it's just the kind of like the regular fireman carry lifting instead of the kind of suplex fireman's carry lift. I don't know if he's just trying to be safer with it. I don't know, but the shell shock to me no longer has really the oomph anymore. And then so the team of Ryback, Big Show, and Kane will get the winner. And remember what I said? Even though I predicted the Wyatt family win, I did say that a Wyatt family loss would not surprise me. And it didn't. When they lost, I was like, Sam Roberts, there's no surprise that happened. It's just like, and look here, one of the reviews that person put, if like, I don't remember which one was it. Okay, here we go. From Aaron Oyster or Oster from the Baltimore Sun basically said, if they, talking about the Wyatt family, if they can't beat this thrown together group, who can they beat? And yeah, it's like if they can't beat, okay, not trying to say a team of that consists of Big Show, Kane, and Ryback is not a force to be reckoned with. Not saying that, but the Wyatt family is supposed to be, this family of destruction, and on their first try, they lose. It's just like I said, the Wyatt family has been so icy hot that it's just like, man, they're not even that threatening. Okay, so moving on to the next match, the next title match. Charlotte defended her Diva Women's Championship against Brie Bella. Basically, Brie was running in this match, was riding the emotional train. Nikki being injured, piled on by Bryan retiring. And, for this match, she came out wearing basically Bryan's kick pads, with the fur around it. And she did a couple of, not only Bryan's moves, of course, but she's been doing Bryan's moves for some time now. But she started to pay homage to Nikki. So they played up the story of, her fighting for Nikki and Bryan, I think, pretty well. And there was some slip-ups. There was some slip-ups in the match. And and what was funny, I've said this in the chat room, that when Charlotte had there was a part where Charlotte had Brie in her figure 4 head scissors, and when she started smiling for a split second, I said, "Oh my God!" For a split second, I saw McCool. I saw Michelle McCool. It was almost like an example, like when someone makes a facial reaction, a facial expression, so for a split second they look like a certain person, like you just see like a mirror image of that person. That's what, when Charlotte smiled, it was just like, for a split, I'm like, wait, did her face just turn to Michelle McCool? And when I said that, Nate even said, me too. I was like, okay, so I wasn't the only one. But Brie Brie would, after making her comeback, hitting the Brie mode knee. I would say she's getting drunk, and I thought she was actually going to suicide dive on Charlotte. The only problem I had with this match for me was my experience watching it, because the network for some reason was like on the first tournament, so it would keep it would like drop, and like, oh, you have to retry. You have to retry. So it's sometimes I like miss things. For instance, I missed the ending of the match when I knew the ending was coming, because after Brie hit a baseball slide, and she was going to hit a drop kick on Charlotte. It's like she favored her knee. She like hurt her leg, and I knew that sooner or later it's gonna play up. And once the feed came back, I had Charlotte to win. And I was like, and I'm seeing the replay of her put on the figure 8 and Brie tapping out. Basically what happened was, I think Brie after hitting the Bella Buster, her X Factor, and then getting a near fall. Or I think she got the near fall prior to that. But basically she was pulling Charlotte up to her feet, and then Charlotte, sweeped her and took her down and knocked the figure 8 and got the tap out. But once again, predicted Charlotte to win, because I felt that her match, along with Becky and Sasha's match, were just like pit stops. We're just pit stops, just intermissions, if you will, from their eventual match at Mania. And I believe that's what they were. But pretty good performance by Brie. I mean, if you want to compare it to like this person, like the one of the reviews, yeah, you want to compare it to like Charlotte's match against Paige or Becky or Bailey or Sasha, yeah, it's not, compare that, it's not really that standout-ish. But, in the case of Brie, because, in the case of Brie, botching, it could have been worse, but it actually wasn't. And I believe that Brie is going to be leaving soon. So if that was her final match, that wasn't that bad of a match to go out on. So, but yeah, Charlotte retained her women's championship, or really Divas championship. Then the next match would be AJ Styles, basically AJ Y2J part, AJ Y2J 3. Basically the rubber match of this series, and I felt I've been feeling this for a while, but I don't think I've said it on the corner though. That that Y2J that Y2J AJ Styles feud, I feel that it had been the most natural case of storytelling. The storytelling of the whole rivalry felt natural. It wasn't convoluted, something confusing or anything. It was just pretty natural. It was easy. It was easy to comprehend. So it was easy to follow, which was pretty good. There's some cases where a storyline will be complex, but complex is a good one where it's intended to be complex, but you can still follow it. But there's some cases in some storylines, especially in wrestling, where it's so complex, convoluted, and filled with plot holes where it's just like, okay, where are they going with this? But that wasn't the case for AJ Styles, Y2J, and and to his credit, Miz played his part well of kind of being the middleman of everything. But AJ Styles, AJ Y2J3. Um, I think at first it did start kind of slow, but it gradually started to pick up. Um, I was a little bit down that AJ didn't really get his signature springboard reverse DDT all the way, very cleanly. It was kind of a botch, but but it wasn't too much of a botch where it was like, bad. But I was like, oh man, he wasn't able to, get the springboard reverse DDT. I think that was it. The first time he did it, he's done it on since coming to WWE. First try is a major success. So that did kind of, upset me a little bit. But it would get down to a part where um that oh no, there was also a cool spot where AJ he there was two cool spots where AJ he try to leap over the top rope while YDJ was outside. YDJ actually drop kicked him, and Jericho actually got up. It wasn't just no little, like he just jumped like a foot off the ground, I'm like an inch off the ground and barely caught AJ. No, he actually jumped up and caught AJ. Like it was like in sync. And then there was another spot where AJ tried to go for a springboard forearm, but just as he leaped on the top rope, Jericho did his springboard drop kick and knocked AJ off the rope and onto the mat face first. Then after, then later on, Jericho would start getting more aggressive. And I was like, oh, but here we go. But I see the signs of heel Jericho, and he put in where he grabbed it and like threw him almost back. AJ's back of his head went to the barricade, and then he locked on the lion tamer. And it looked like, Jericho was intentionally trying to get himself disqualified. I mean, not disqualified. It was intentionally trying to get himself the count out victory. But AJ would, he got back in the kind of got back in the ring at before 10. Like his body was through ropes and he got cold breaker. And I thought, oh, is that really gonna be the finish? Like, okay, like it looks like AJ gonna make it back in the ring for the end. Cold breaker. And immediately when Jericho went for the pin, I'm like, wait a minute, AJ's arm is over the rope, and it's under the rope, and the referee saw it, and he's got Jericho. You stupid son of a bitch. Start slapping. You stupid. You stupid. And I think that was maybe before. I think before that, AJ, he I think, oh man, I'm trying to remember the spot exactly. I think Jericho tried to go for the walls of Jericho. Um, but AJ countered. Basically, AJ did his signature pull-up styles clash where I think most time he'll counter. Most time he'll counter. Um, he'll counter a styles. It's kind of like a sunset flip, and he'll pull the person up for the styles clash. And I really thought that was the finish. And when Jericho kicked up, that actually, I was like, I had a plate. And I was like, when I went, oh, I actually dropped the plate. Because I was like, I actually caught me like, oh, shoot, wait, that was a kick out. And, Nate said it, and somebody else also said it and says in this review that they were almost like, why have AJ, the Styles Clash, get kicked out of so early? And I kind of agree. And I see John, you say, I hope AJ uses the spinal tap move. Yeah, hopefully AJ will go on to do the spinal tap, his top rope finisher. But then it will come where I'm trying to remember how AJ got into the calf crusher. See, I wish I wrote down notes. But he was locked on the calf crusher, and Jericho was trying to fight on as hard as he can. But in the end, he taps out. And, a good match. And if that's the end of the series, no, that was a good way to end it. And then at the end, Jericho all upset. And he will pull AJ down. And it looked like at first that Jericho was going to try to hit him because he cocked his fist, and here comes AJ like, you want to go? And then finally they will shake hands. And, basically AJ earning Jericho's respect. And that was that. So good match, good series for, basically AJ's first series of, like a story or a rivalry or a feud. Good set of matches. But it's all like, what do you expect out of AJ and YJ? Even though, yeah, it could have been a case of, looks good on paper, but, the actual results, they are not good. Which can happen in wrestling. I'm really not even going to talk too much about, but there was a filler match. It was a filler match. Curtis Axel was R-Truth, and Curtis Axel won because Goldust tried to get involved in it. His basically well-intentioned mistake by Goldust. I didn't really understand why they needed to have a filler match when you basically could have given, I don't know, you kind of maybe could have given, since Curtis Axel and that match was 2 minutes, I guess you could have added 2 more minutes to one of these matches. Then there was the cutting edge peep show, New Day segment, which much as I like New Day and I like Edge and Christian, in the grand scheme of things, nothing really came out of it. It was kind of weird. No, one person even put in a review that was kind of weird in terms of character alignment because the New Day just started talking crap about the League of Nations, and Edge and Christian agreed with them, and then League of Nations come out, and the New Day, jokes on them before leaving, and then Edge and Christian, leaves before jokes on them too before leaving. And the New Day start doing their twerk and everything. He's got Edge like throwing dollar bills. And I was thinking, okay, if New Day's turning face, okay, I wouldn't have a problem with it being at the expense of the League of Nations, but it was just kind of weird. Yeah, I guess, okay, the comparisons of the antics of the New Day and Edge and Christian, okay, but it was just kind of a weird segment because you could have taken it as once the League of Nations came out, Edge and Christian and New Day was kind of standing together. Like, what could Okay, is this leading to a face turn for the New Day? Are they about to turn face? But I guess that wasn't the case because I guess on Raw they had a match against the Lucha Dragons. I think my brother told me that Kofi was trying to take the mask off of either Kalisto or some car. So it was, in terms of the character alignment wise, it was kind of weird. And once League of Nations came, yeah, it really came to a screeching halt. Then we get on to the main event. Triple threat match determined number one contender for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 32. Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar versus Dean Ambrose. Um, this match, was like fifth gear from the start. It really was no dull moment, especially when really how much the crowd is into, Suplex City, which basically that's what it was for. The match was 16 minutes for I think a good five or almost 8 minutes. It was just nothing but Suplex City. And, the part where Brock was going to F5. No, actually, Brock F5 Roman early, and Dean broke up the pin. But then when Dean was going to get F5, Roman hit Brock with a spear. It was a pretty hard spear, too, because they even showed in slow motion. You could see the impact. And it was also a funny spot where Ambrose tried to German Brock, and Brock's just looking like, what the hell you think you're doing? It was a pretty comedic spot. And also where Ambrose tried to suicide dive Brock, but he got caught in an overhead belly to belly onto the floor. And it got to the point where I'm like, all right, one of you guys are either going to have to bring out the weapons or go after Brock's weak spot, which is a weak spot for any guy on the balls. But it seems like in WWE, yeah, with Brock, the only way to really hurt him is, a nut shot. And that would happen when Brock, I think, was going to Roman tried to go for, I think, a Superman, but he tried to go for, his run off the steps, but he got caught right into a 5-minute carry, almost about to get F5'd, but Dean low blowed Brock, and then they would pay homage to their Shield days and double power bomb Brock through the announcer's table, and then Dean will go on a flurry against Reigns. And then there's a part where Reigns, he had Dean. Reigns had Dean on his shoulder for Fireman's carry, and I'm trying to think, was that when Brock? I'm trying to remember, was that when Brock came back the second time when he came back? I think the first time. I'm trying to remember, but there was a spot where Ambrose was going to get Samoan drop, and Brock came from behind and German Roman. So, and it could have went wrong, but it came out pretty good, and the crowd went up for that. But then once again, they would dispose of Brock by double powerbomb again through, I think, the Spanish announce table, or I think it was Michael Cole announced it the second time. And this time, the impact was worse than the second one. It was almost like a splat and a crash. And then they would just start burying, the table and the debris on top of Brock. And then Roman would go on a flurry on Ambrose. I think that's when Brock did the German while Reigns had Ambrose on top for the Samoan drop. Ambrose hit the dirty deeds on Reigns, but it wouldn't get the job done. Ambrose, Reigns hit the spear on Reigns hit the spear on Brock again, and then Brock would just sit up and lock on the Kimura lock, and Reigns' power is powering up, but Brock still had the Kimura lock on, but then Dean comes with the chair and starts whacking Brock with in the back, starts wailing on Brock, and then he turns to Reigns, starts wailing on Reigns, turns back to Brock. I think Brock was getting up, and he keeps wailing on Brock until Brock rolls out the ring, and then once he turns around, Reigns just pops up and spear, and 1, 2, 3, and I'm like, okay, that was pretty abrupt for Faye. It was so abrupt that I thought that Ambrose was going to kick out, and the crowd didn't like it. It doesn't help that already they were in Dean's home state of Ohio. I think Dean is from Cincinnati, Ohio. So that didn't help. And other than that, I think the crowd, like I said, Reigns winning was predictable, and it was a predictable thing that they did not want to happen. And so surprisingly, the Wyatt family did not come out and, cost Brock the match. And then now it makes sense because basically Bray and Brock so far is going to be a story left untold. Because like I said, like I was thinking with that finish, you might as well do Ambrose and Brock because you're probably going to be where logically Brock is going to be upset at going to feel that Ambrose cost him a shot at WrestleMania, which is going to be the case on the next night. But the match never had a dull moment. It was fast paced. It was the crowd, was into it almost every step of the way. But I think they were kind of deflated when Reigns won. And with the finish, the funny thing was about the finish was, when Reigns getting smacked all over the chair and everything, I'm like, I used to always say, Reigns, he gets hit in the back or so, or he gets hit in the front with the plate. It's almost like, shouldn't that reduce the damage? So in a way, the irony was like, okay, it kind of reduced it, but it's almost like after getting well in the chair like that in the Kimura lock, only he just pops up his spear and it's over. So I can understand people's, displeasure with that finish. And Reigns celebrating with the pyros going off. Here comes Triple H. I'm thinking Triple H is going to do what he's been doing for the past 2 weeks, come out on the stage with the WWE Championship on his shoulder, flashing a smirk, and that's it. But this time he walked into the ring and him and Reigns circled each other, and then finally it's them staring at each other in the middle of the ring with the WrestleMania logo in the background. That's how Fastlane ended. So overall thoughts on Fastlane 2016. How can I put it? It wasn't great, but it wasn't horrible in my opinion. I still think that it is kind of a throwaway. You can, bypass it. You can bypass the pay-per-view. You can, take a detour. Since fast and get it. Not detour. You can, take a shortcut and go right into, WrestleMania or the build to WrestleMania. So yeah, and then they asked me, did I feel it was a pay-per-view or just a good Raw? And I felt it was just a good Raw. It felt like a good Raw instead of a pay-per-view. Even because, especially once they added that filler match with Curtis Axel and R-Truth, it was like, okay, this definitely kind of feels like a Raw. But yeah, so those are my thoughts on Fastlane 2016. Oh my God. And so yeah, those were my thoughts. My thoughts were that while, oh, wait a minute. Uh-oh. While it wasn't great, wasn't anything to write home about, but it wasn't really horrible either. And it's funny when I was talking to me and my friends were talking the next day in my school. One of my friends say, "Oh, they buried Brock." Okay, literally they buried him underneath, the table. But when he said like they buried him, I'm thinking, one, personally, I don't even like that phrase in wrestling, that term buried, because I feel fans overuse and misuse that term buried. You can't bury Brock Lesnar. It's not to the point. Bury is when you're humiliated so bad where nobody can care about it. The crowd's still gonna care about Brock Lesnar. And I've said this to people time and time in my school before. For the past year, Brock hasn't really won. He didn't win at Battleground. He didn't win at Battleground. He didn't win at SummerSlam. He didn't win at the Royal Rumble, and he didn't win at Fastlane. Oh, and you count. He didn't even win at WrestleMania. But with all those matches, besides Rumble, where he actually got tossed out, but it was still under kind of controversial means. Brock has still been protected with all the matches that he has not won, because the triple threat match, yeah, he lost his belt, but he did not take the deciding fall. It was Reigns that took that. So he lost his belt. He didn't really get beat. Then comes Battleground. The match, it looked like initially ended no contest, but because Taker, then all of a sudden they say, yeah, it was disqualification. Brock won by disqualification. So he didn't even lose to Seth Rollins. He just didn't win the belt. Then SummerSlam, he initially wins the match, but they do this very overbooked, convoluted finish, that leads to him just passing out after sticking his middle finger up at Taker while he was putting Hell's Gate. And then at Royal Rumble, he gets controversially eliminated by the Wyatt family after eliminating them. And then at Fastlane, he just gets knocked out of the ring by a couple of chairs, and it's Dean that took the fall. So I don't see how Brock could be buried. He can't be buried. He's had so much star power that it will be hard to really bury Brock Lesnar. He's to that level. So I completely disagree with if anybody said, they buried Brock Lesnar at Fastlane. They buried him. I will completely disagree with that. So moving on to the next night, which would be Raw. Unfortunately, I kind of missed the biggest moment of Raw because I was on my way home, and that was the return of the money, Shane O'Mac. Here comes the money. Here we go, money talk. Here comes the money, money. Shane returns after, I think, like I said, 6.5 years, nearing 7 years. Something I thought would never happen, because it seemed like Shane was comfortable and he was satisfied with where he was at, being away from the WWE. But lo and behold, he came back, and I remember there was talks. I think there was like rumors that he was supposed to come back last WrestleMania, but that did not happen. It's gonna be for this WrestleMania, and I still get to watch the promo he cut, because Steph was going to get that Vincent J. McMahon award, and I had a feeling the award ceremony of it was going to be a big moment. Probably somebody was going to come out that was big, or somebody returning it was going to be bigger, whatever. It turned out to be a big returning. It turned out to be Shane McMahon. And for what I was told by my brother Chris and my brother Kids, that man, he ran down, Vince, Steph, and I believe Hunter. He ran down on them. Basically saying that, basically almost like they have basically caused, like if W was a plane, they basically caused it going to a nosedive. If it was a ship, they basically causing it to sink. I mean, he just it to the point. Chris told me it was to the point where you was trying to decide. Okay, is this a shoot or what? Like, did they bring Shane but they say, yeah, you can say whatever you want, and they even know they was gonna say. It was like, oh man, like he's like really speaking the truth here. You know, this is really coming off like real. And then when I got back home, you know, they show what I guess the two big things to take away from it. Vince asks him, you know, well, what do you want? Money. And Shane says, I'm not here for money. I'm here for one thing, and that's control over Monday Night Raw. And then Vince basically says, you know, and I'll give you that. You know, basically, if you have one match on one night, WrestleMania. Excuse me, sorry for that. And it will be against The Undertaker. And before that, Chris told me that, and that the shock value and everything, and the happiness of Shane McMahon just started to slowly die down. The realness started settling in. And I'm like, wait, Shane versus Undertaker, and then Hell in a Cell. I'm like, why would Undertaker do the dirty work of the McMahons? And that is my gripe with this announcement of this match. While it's great to see Shane back, and I saw John, you said something that you don't know who you want to win, Taker or Shane. And you also said the reason I want Shane to win would be I want the authority gone. But on the other hand, I don't like to see Taker lose at Mania. See, all of that stuff does play into effect because, like, yeah, now that the streak is over, I guess you really don't want to see Taker lose another match. But that's also at the same time, since Shane is basically the face in this story, and Undertaker's handpicked by Vince McMahon basically to prevent Shane from having control, is that what does that make Taker the villain in this? You know, the hired gun for Vince McMahon? And I don't think a lot of people really want to see heel Taker. I don't think a lot of fans really like that Taker was kind of heelish during the Brock feud. You know, one could take it as, oh no, it was just like all bets were off. But, you know, as how much he went for low blowing Taker, I mean, low blowing Brock, it was almost as if, yeah, he kind of was the heel. So I don't think really fans really want to see heel Taker. And I don't think they really want to see Shane come back and lose, but they don't want to see Taker, you know, lose at Mania. And just the whole idea of Taker doing the dirty work for the McMahons, that's why I'm waiting for his reaction, his response to this, because it just seems very odd. I just don't understand it. You know, the last time Taker did dirty work for the McMahons was his Big Evil days, you know, and he was all about, you know, demanding respect. And that didn't really, and then after he turned face, that was it. Because for all of you that don't know, Taker really didn't even like the corporate ministry. He didn't like once the ministry and corporation merged and he was basically taking orders from Mr. Man character. You know, he felt that was, you know, like, okay. He didn't really like the corporate ministry. He even said that in, I think, one of his This Is My Yard DVD where he talks about it. I remember first hearing on one of his DVDs how he didn't like the corporate ministry. But because of how confusing Shane versus Taker and Hell in a Cell is, because of how confusing it is, I don't think it's going to stick. Now we're 40 days away from Mania. That's still a lot of days for things to change. And I don't think that it's going to stick with Shane and Taker. I think somebody else is going to get involved and probably represent Shane. And probably Johnny Boy see if I don't get that John Cena and Taker. But still at the same time, be like, why would Taker want to prevent Shane or anybody to get control from the villainous McMahon family? It just seems very odd. As I said about Shane's return, it was a memorable moment that turned into a Russo shocker. And basically a Russo shocker is where it's shocking, but then when you look back and you're like, wait, that didn't make any sense. It's almost like it's shock value. It's shocking, but then when everything settles in, it's like, wait a minute, that didn't even make any sense. That's how I feel about this Shane versus Taker thing so far. And then the next match that was basically announced was Brock versus Dean in a street fight, which I believe is the way to go. And Nate was like, should we feel sorry for Bray? Because basically Bray's not going to have that Brock match. And I'm like, so basically we're going to be feeling sorry for Bray Wyatt. I think so. It's like if the plan was Bray versus Brock, and they basically said, well, we've been listening to the reaction of these Ambrose and Brock segments, and the crowd seems to be enjoying them very much. Hey, let's go with that. Hey, I think that's a pretty natural, change. It does suck for Bray, but let's face it, the past few months for Bray has been sucking. And I missed like the first hour, first 40 minutes or so of Raw. And apparently before, and you guys notice that glares because Chris is standing in the light. I was told that before Raw, because Dean was attacked by Brock Lesnar, because when I got in, there was a segment where Roman's on his phone, and my brother and Chris says like he's checking on Dean. I'm thinking, okay, what happened to Dean? And basically Brock let out his frustrations. But I don't think we're going to get a case of Brock saying, the fake homage to his shoe with Kurt Angle. You need Ambrose stop being my friend. He tossed me the number one contender show. We're not going to get that. But that's basically how he feels that, Dean cost him basically by hitting him with the chair and everything. Which I think is a natural route because Brock seems the type that, you cost him from, you cost him whether, in this case, Dean didn't do anything that Brock wouldn't do. He did what he had to do. He was trying to win the match. So it's not like he was interfering in the match or so. So, but Brock's the type where if he doesn't get what's his, he's going to hurt you. He's going to hurt you. And he wanted to hurt Dean real bad. And he did because Dean had to be sent to the hospital. But Dean will come back. I was told will come back. Thinking an ambulance truck. And he had his neck brace on. And he's selling and everything. And he crawls all the way into the ring because Paul Heyman and Brock was standing in the ring. And Brock just steps over him. And Ambrose basically challenges him for the street fight. And Brock comes back to the ring, F5s him, I believe. Chris told me on the floor instead of the ring. And, Heyman would say that, my client, accepts. And it's funny, I called it because when I was talking to my friend at school, and it was like, no, I don't, how did, how did Ambrose cost Brock? I'm like, Brock and Heyman are going to spin it as, that Ambrose, kept hitting with a chair that prevented him from. I said, this is what's going to happen. Dean Ambrose, you caught my client a shot and a goal against the face Triple H and Russell to reclaim his throne as the conqueror. There will be hell to pay. I'm like, that's basically what's going to happen. And that's basically what happened. And Chris told me that basically, Heyman try to spin it as this sympathetic case of, Dean Ambrose turned a professional wrestling match into some street fight or whatever. It's like, it was no disqualification. It's like no disqualification. Your client, Brock Lesnar, was going to F5 Roman Reigns through an announcer's table, which is pretty extreme, if I may say. But I think Brock versus Dean is going to be very chaotic. I think it's going to tell a good story of durability from Ambrose. Because I believe if Punk and Lesnar was good, I rewatched that match a couple of weeks ago. It was the first time I watched it since watching it on the network. No, wait. Yeah, watching it on the watched it on watched it on the network. Okay, that was 2014. No, 2013. So I was on the network. I was just watching on pay-per-view. But that was good. So I really have no doubts that Ambrose and Lesnar, especially with how much the crowd's been getting into it, I really don't see Ambrose and Lesnar really, deflating the fans by not giving them what they want. And that's, balls out, fisticuffs, anything goes, with a story of iron will from Ambrose, really proving that, this guy is almost indestructible. I don't think he's going to get thrown off the cell or anything, because not having a cell match, but he's going to take a beating, and he knows that. I think that's what makes the story intriguing. He knows he's going to take a beating by Brock, but that's really not the point. The point is not for him to prevent that beating. His point is to prove to Brock that, the beating you give me is not going to stop. It's like Austin. I ain't stopped. You're basically going to have to kill me. You're basically going to have to beat me so bad that almost like my nervous system shuts down on me. That's basically what's the story. Brock will lose to Dean. I would love that. That would be very shocking. Love that. That would put Dean over. It would put Dean very over. He was to get a win over Brock at WrestleMania in a street fight, because while everything goes for Dean, he's on a weapon one, but one could look at it, there's really no limits to what Brock can do. So it's like almost Brock is at the advantage. But if that was to happen, man, Brock losing to Dean, since Brock has basically almost been at this indestructible, almost unbeatable freight train, that would be pretty big, man. John, you'll say Brock is one of the best workers in WWE right now. Yeah, I think my friend Nate always says that Brock is a very underrated seller and a worker. I mean, Brock. I think that Paul Heyman when he was on the podcast, or Austin's podcast, not the live one, on actual Austin's podcast, not the WWE part of it. And they were talking about people with good psychology or so, and Paul Heyman brought to Steve that somebody. He said Brock Lesnar, and he was telling Steve that Brock, everything Brock does is believable. He knows what works for him, and it's like everything Brock does, looks believable. There's no man that didn't look believable. He German somebody like this guy German your ass. He belly to bellies you, and when he got you on the ground, he needs you in the rim, man. That looked freaking painful. So everything Brock does, Brock, for a guy who is built to give out punishment, he's not that bad on selling punishment either. I agree with Nate when he said that Brock is an underrated seller. Okay. Brock will be heel versus Dean. Yeah, even though Brock has lately been in the realm of gray, he's almost like they will call like a sleeping giant, where he really is not a line or anybody. Just don't mess with him. But in this case, that sleeping giant kind of goes looking for punishment, go looking to hurt somebody. So he's like that true neutral where he's not good, he's not bad, he's just in the gray. But whenever he feels like hurting somebody, it doesn't matter what your alignment is, he's going to hurt you. Or if you mess with him, no matter what your alignment, he's going to hurt you. That's basically Brock. But in this case, I think, yeah, he's going to be pro heel against Dean, which I think works. Okay. John, I did not think that we would ever see Shane again. Yeah, man. Like I said, I thought that, I felt that Shane for those almost 7 years seemed to be very comfortable and very satisfied with stepping away from the company and, going on his own ventures and being successful at that and, being away from WWE. It looked like he was satisfied. So him coming back, yeah, was a major surprise and got a great ass pop. I think this is a front, and we will have Shane in the corner. Exactly. I think that's what it is. I think that was just to get the ball on and just get the shock value. But yeah, I agree with you, John. I think, yeah, it's going to lead to somebody stepping up for Shane, and Shane's going to be in one person's corner, and Vince's going to be in. If it stays, Taker's corner. Once again, I've already gone into that just confuses me. Because I think that this will lead up to Sting versus Taker. Either Sting versus Taker or Cena versus Taker. That's if Cena tries his hardest to get back before Mania comes. But even if it's Sting versus Taker, I don't think I ever saw it being Sting going against a Vince McMahon directed Undertaker. Now, granted, we haven't got Taker's response yet. So probably, yeah, he probably going to confront Vince and like, what makes you think that I would do over? Something like that. Maybe even go grab Vince by the throat and make Vince, something like that. But that's what I'm hoping for. I just don't see Booger Red Taker anymore. And what I mean by Booger Red Taker, back when he turned heel in 2001 and from 2002, and then he was demanding respect when, like King Jerry, Jerry King always say he's like, Roger Dangerfield, where, he's like, I just want respect. Eventually, from time to time, JR will call him Booger Red. Watching one match, No Way Out 2002, he was going against The Rock. And like in Booger Red, I'm thinking, who's JR talking? Booger Red, and kind of finally he was referring to Undertaker. And then I remember just searching on Google Booger Red because it's like years after. I searched up Booger Red, like see if there's like actually a definition of this, and on the one of Google's, one like searches I found up was somebody on JR's blog, JR's barbecue. Somebody asked him, why did you used to refer to Undertaker back during his Big Evil days as Booger Red? And JR explained how in college there was a guy who had Undertaker's hairstyle at that time, that blonde at the bottom and get redder at the top, and then be like a little bit of black highlights right on the tips, like black tips. And I guess that person was called Booger Red, nicknamed Booger Red. So it was like going back to JR's days as a Sooner. Booger Red. What? John Roman took a TV-14 beating, and it's good that you bring it up because that was going to be the last thing that I was going to go into. Yeah, the ending of Raw. The ending of Raw saw Roman Reigns and Triple H fight off. Finally, Triple H did something other than step on the stage with the belt on his shoulder and smirk. This time he wasn't even in his suit. He was in his jacket and his fists were taped up. And it was almost like, yeah, she got real because I'm not in a suit anymore. And Roman, instead of waiting for Triple H, because almost like, okay, I'm getting tired of waiting. And he brought the fight to Triple H, and Reigns started winning, and he threw it, and he closed on over the freaking barricade. I'm like, once time wrestling with somebody where he'll get knocked over the barricade, either they're either going to pop back up with a chair, or in this case, Triple H with the ring bell. And Triple H hit him right in the throat with the ring bell. And from there, it was just Roman just taking a beating. He got his face smashed into the announcer's table like time after time after time. And it was the first time that I can recall somebody actually get busted open. Actually, a busted open spot from getting your face smashed repeatedly in an announcement table, which could be believed. Like, couldn't that lead to a busted nose or so? And yeah, Reigns, they revealed that his face was all bloodied, and Triple H, doing his typical. He's been doing since freaking 2000. His roundabout putting and I'm like, oh man, somebody stop this! And there come the medics with the gloves on, because now with WWE, somebody they get the gloves. And like, okay, this is over with, and then Triple H, just the steel stabs him. I'm thinking, this guy gonna pedigree him on the steps. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is kind of thing, and then bam, and I don't even think really Reigns even got his hands up when he got burst through the steps. I mean, because it just like boom. And I'm like, oh damn. And he just got Triple H. You know who I am now. You know who I am now. But when Triple H yells, his mouth stays so open that you really can't even understand what he's saying. Like the time when he got fed up with Big Show, and Big Show knocked him out. He's all like, I'm tired. I'm tired. It's damn so he's starting like down the toilet and rah, rah, rah. So that's when Triple H yells. After a while, you don't understand what he's saying. So he's like, you know who I am, you know who I am. And he's got Michael. You hear Triple H? He's screaming the ring. Do you know who I am? And I'm like, yep, he's a guy. He said she's a guy who has a big nose. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, do you know who I am now? It's almost like, oh no, I'm just thinking about it. Because I called it, that when Triple H gets his beat down revenge on Reigns, either he's going to return and beat Reigns down, and he is going to scream out when he screamed at Batista when he came back, do you want to fight me now? Huh? Yeah, but in this case, he just, you know who I am now. It's like, oh. So, but the thing was, the biggest thing that came out of when Triple H beat up Roman Reigns was not really the blood job, which now is being speculated. Was that a blade job or was a blood cap? Because there's some video evidence that Byron gave Reigns something. And I'm like, okay, whether it was a blood capsule or it was a blade job, there was blood involved, which was supposed to get it over as severe. But the biggest thing to take out of that beatdown was the crowd reaction. Man, if I didn't know it, but I would have thought I was in a Roman Coliseum. Wow. A Roman Coliseum. No pun intended. A Roman Coliseum, because when Triple H started banging Reigns' face, you hear in the crowd, yes, 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 yes. I'm like, Jesus, man, this Mortal Kombat fan. And then when he hit the freaking pedigree, you got the crowd, one more time, one more time. And then when Triple H mocked the Superman punch symbol, the cock, and then the suck, and the crowd went crazy. I'm like, well, that really got Roman over as that face. It's like, yeah, they really feel sympathy for him. And the crowd, Triple H, Triple H. I'm like, it's like, oh man, that really got Reigns over. That's not the reaction I don't think Triple H or anybody was attending. It's like, this will be a severe beatdown. Trying to get Reigns over as the the face. However, one could look at, and I also looked at, maybe there's fans that think, well, what Triple H did, wasn't he really heelish? Because he probably just getting payback on what Reigns did to him at TLC, which was an unprovoked attack. And that's my thing. I talked about this before on the court that, yeah, while it was pretty good to show the, lead up to Reigns when he snapped and everything, but it was like the way he beat down Triple H unprovoked was almost like, oh my God. I just saw the aftermath, the results of Roman Reigns getting his face broken. My thing was that the way they executed was almost as if it's like, can't one take that? Wait, what did Triple H do to really to deserve that type of a beatdown? He didn't do anything. It was League of Nations that did everything. And it's all like, well, if Triple H comes back and he wants revenge on Roman, it's justifiable. It's not like, oh, he screwed Roman. It's like, well, doesn't Roman kind of got held to pay for being at Triple H the way he did, unprovoked? But maybe that's how some fans are looking at it. Or maybe there's just some fans that are just not liking Roman Reigns. Because I said, if that was probably Dean, the crowd probably would have been booing. They're like, oh, no, you don't. But it's to the point. Me and Chris said, we're feeling bad for Roman. I think Roman's just in a very compromising position. And it's to the point where I'm about to start calling him woeful, Roman Reigns. Because it's just been nothing but a tree of woe for this guy. Okay, it looked like at one point he was getting the cheers back, and then once they announced that he's going to defend his title, after I think that's when okay, you guys are really pushing him on us now. We was kind of slowly getting back to him. Some of those fans probably thought, and now you're really pushing him onto us. And okay, now we're going to rebel against that. And so yeah, why is bad that for that segment that Triple H got cheered the hell out and Roman didn't get any sympathy. It's almost like, oh man, is it this show? If WWE wants Roman to be the guy that takes Cena's, that fills the role when Cena leaves, I don't think it's working. I don't think it's working. I don't. And, like I said, if somebody was to say, I've been saying this before, somebody would say, oh, but Cena Cena's, he gets booed. Yeah, but when Cena was being built as the guy or one of the next faces to lead into the next decade or so, the new generation of WWE, him and Batista, he wasn't getting booed. The fans were all behind him. They were behind the Chain Gang and, I live by a code, eye for an eye, with JBL and everything. They were all behind him. It's like they were behind Batista. So I think it's worse when you're trying to be built up as a face and you're getting booed, but the next top guy and getting booed, then eventually later on when you are at the top, you're getting booed. Because Cena didn't start really getting booed until he was kind of basically sitting at the top. So it really sucks for Roman. And it's 40 days to build a Mania. And it's almost like the crowd reacted. They were in Detroit. Oh no, Motor City. Detroit reacted to Roman getting his ass whipped by Triple H. It's supposed to be a heelish moment. We just say that the other states, the other crowds, are not going to react to opposite. Whether it's Roman getting retribution on Triple H, they're booing him and they're chanting for Triple H to make a comeback. Or when Triple H, hits him with a sledgehammer or something, they're cheering for Triple H. One more time, man, for us, Triple H. We don't like Roman, So, yeah, you can beat him up all you want. It really sucks for Roman. I don't hate Roman. No, I don't. But it really sucks that he's in a compromising position. Because now this is the second WrestleMania where he's going to be in the main event, and he is getting negative response. It sucks. It really does. John, do you think Dean will cost Roman a WWE title? No, I don't. And personally, I hope he doesn't, because, man, look, I think I said this before in the corner. You do that, then there goes any chances of getting the fans on Roman's side, because fans might rebel. So you turn Dean on Roman. You think we're supposed to, you really want us to boo Dean? Hell no. We're going to take that now to boo Reigns more. That's probably how fans are going to look at that as. Or do you think Seth could return and cost Triple H the title? I don't know when Seth is scheduled to return. I doubt he's completely healthy for Mania, like to even make a run in. But if he was, I guess that'd be a pretty interesting way to kind of like, I guess, renew the Shield. But I doubt that's going to happen. Seth returning and calling Triple H the title. I still do feel when Seth comes back, he's going to be a face, some way or some form. But WrestleMania is in April. We got a couple weeks to go. We got about 40 days, and I don't think, and it's going to be a long road to WrestleMania, long 40 days for Roman Reigns. If that was an indication of what's to come, it's going to be a long 40 days, because even at Fastlane, he didn't get a good reaction. And like I said, it didn't help that he was also in Ambrose's home state of Ohio. So, yep. Like I say again, let me do Jimmy Butler. As I see. 40 days left for WrestleMania. It's going to be a long, I'll put the emphasis. If that's an indication of what's to come, it's going to be a long 40 days, a long road to WrestleMania for Roman Reigns. So it's going to be a trail of tears and woes. Yeah, like I said, Roman Reigns. That's what's going to be, man. And it's very unfortunate, in my opinion. Very unfortunate. Also, by the way, it's official. Shinsuke Nakamura has signed with the WWE. It's official. He's cleared for whatever those things about him, that what if he doesn't pass? And I'm thinking, my question was, for that report, like, okay, for what reason should he not pass the medical, test? For what reason should he not do it? He should not, be cleared. That's what I didn't understand about that article. But anyway, yeah. So Shinsuke Nakamura is officially signed with, with NXT or WWE, but for NXT. You can even see it on YouTube right now. That's one of the thumbnails right on the video page. Shinsuke Nakamura signed with WNXT February 25th, 2016. So it is official. And also official that we have officially come to the end of this corner. This was episode 20 of season 5. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys enjoyed this, my review for Fastlane, and also my thoughts on Shane's return, and also him going against the possibility of him going against Taker, and also my thoughts on Dean versus Lesnar, and also is he Roman Reigns? Very long road to WrestleMania, which is very unfortunate. Just make sure to check if there's any more comment. Seems to be no comments. So, yes, we have officially come to the end for this corner. As always, I'm Hulk 93 in the place to be. Thank you for this wrestling corner. And until the next corner, stay easy and peace.